June 18th, 2020, 7:43 a.m., Munich, Germany. Markus Braun sits in his car outside Wirecard headquarters. Phone rings, his lawyer. The words change everything. The money doesn't exist. 2 billion euros, gone. Braun, CEO of Germany's hottest tech company, stares at building he built. 15 years. From payment processor nobody heard of to Germany's darling, valued at 25 billion euros, more than Deutsche Bank, more than Commerzbank, all built on air. Within 48 hours, Braun arrested. Within 1 week, company bankrupt. Within 2 weeks, 25 billion euros, billion with B, vaporized. 15,000 investors wiped out. But here's the question nobody wants to answer. How did Germany's most sophisticated regulators miss a 2 billion euro fraud for 15 years? How did auditors at Ernst Young sign off on fake cash? How did journalists who exposed it get investigated instead of the criminals? This is Wirecard. This is the story of Europe's biggest financial fraud since World War II. But this isn't just a German story. If you have international mutual funds in your retirement account, European stock exposure through index funds, pension investments in DAX companies, your money was in Wirecard, because Wirecard was Germany's top 30. Every major European index fund owned it. Every pension tracking European markets held it. 25 billion euros destroyed in 10 days. Billion with B. Retirement dreams wiped out. Lifelong savings evaporated. Pension funds lost hundreds of millions of ordinary people's money. People who did everything right, diversified, trusted blue chip indexes, relied on regulators and auditors, still lost everything. Let me show you how this happened. And the warning signs everyone missed? But first, understand the pattern. This isn't the first time, won't be the last. There's a pattern that repeats whenever companies grow too fast to question. Stage 1, meteoric rise, explosive growth. Nobody can explain, but everyone celebrates. Stage 2, warning signs. Ignored. Journalists investigate. Regulators protect company instead of investors. Stage 3, fake numbers. Revenue that doesn't exist. Cash that isn't there. Auditors sign off anyway. Stage 4, the crack. One number doesn't work. House of cards wobbles. Stage 5, collapse. Everything fake gets exposed. Billions vanish overnight. Enron followed this pattern. Arthur Andersen signed fake audits. Collapsed 2001. Bernie Madoff followed this pattern. SEC investigated 3 times. Found nothing. Collapsed 2008. Theranos followed this pattern. Walgreens trusted. Didn't verify. Collapsed 2018. Same pattern. Different country. Same result. In 2015, Wirecard entered stage 3. Fake cash. Fake revenue. Trusted auditors signing lies. By 2020, reached stage 5. Let me show you how it happened and why nobody stopped it. To understand Wirecard, you need to understand what payment processing means and why Germany bet everything on getting it right. Think of payment processing like this. You buy something online with credit card. Between you and merchant, invisible machinery makes that transaction work. Wirecard was that machinery. When you typed card number into website, Wirecard verified funds, transferred money, took tiny fee, fraction of a percent, but multiply by millions of transactions, billions in revenue. That's the business model. Simple, proven, boring. But here's where Germany enters. If you remember the 1990s, Germany had a problem. And while America created Google, Amazon, Facebook, Germany created nothing. Europe's largest economy, watching Silicon Valley dominate, back when made in Germany meant quality you could trust with your life, Mercedes, Siemens, Deutsche Bank. Suddenly, Germany had nothing in digital age. National pride wounded. German politicians obsessed. Where is our tech champion? By early 2000s, they thought they found it. Wirecard. The company started 1999 as tiny payment processor. By 2005, going public. By 2010, growing faster than anyone could explain. By 2018, joining DAX, Germany's top 30 companies. Finally, Germany's answer to PayPal. Homegrown tech success. Politicians celebrated. Chancellor Angela Merkel personally promoted company abroad. Regulators protected it fiercely. This was Germany's pride. Now, meet Markus Braun. Born Austria, 1969. Studied business. Smart, driven, detail-obsessed. Joined Wirecard 2002. CEO by 2002. Braun looked perfect. Always suit and tie. Always precise numbers. Always confident forecasts. Promised investors. Wirecard would revolutionize digital payments. Make Germany leader in fintech. Compete with American giants. Investors believed. Why wouldn't they? This was Germany. Land of engineering excellence. Rigorous auditing. Strong regulation. If German auditors approved numbers, numbers must be real, right? Wrong. but nobody questioned. Because questioning Wirecard meant questioning Germany's tech dream. Here's how payment processing should work. Real company processes transactions, collects fees, reports revenue, shows profit. Ernst Young, one of the world's top 4 auditing firms, hired to verify, check bank accounts, confirm cash exists, sign financial statements. That's the system. Should catch fraud easily. But Wirecard didn't follow normal model. Most revenue supposedly came from third-party acquirers, basically partners in Asia and Middle East who handled transactions for Wirecard. Wirecard claimed, we process payments in Europe directly, but Asia and Middle East? Our partners handle those. We collect fees. They send cash back. Simple arrangement, except nobody could verify it. Auditors at Ernst Young never visited these partners, never verified cash, just trusted Wirecard's word. Fatal flaw: when auditor trusts company they're supposed to audit, system collapses. This matters because these audits determine what your pension fund can invest in, what makes it into DAX index, what gets marked safe for retirement portfolios. If you had international funds in 2015 to 2020, some of your money likely owned Wirecard, based on audits that never checked if money was real. Now let's see how the fraud actually worked. The temptation started small: global financial crisis devastating, banks collapsing, credit freezing, Wirecard growing but needed more capital. Investors wanted proof of success, especially in Asia, where competition fierce. Braun had choice: admit growth slower than promised, or inflate numbers slightly, make company look stronger, raise more capital, use that capital to grow for real. He chose inflation. Nobody knows exact moment. But evidence suggests by 2008 to 2009, Wirecard reporting revenue that didn't exist, started with Asian partners. Company would claim, partner processed 50 million euros in transactions this quarter. Wirecard gets 1% fee. That's 500,000 euros revenue. Except investigators later found, partner didn't process transactions. Money never moved. Revenue fabricated. But here's key: nobody checking. Ernst Young reviewing numbers from Munich, partners halfway across a world, language barriers, different accounting systems. Braun counted on this. Distance makes fraud easier, and it worked. By 2010, Wirecard revenue growing 30% yearly. Stock price climbing, investors celebrating. This was the moment. Last chance to stop. Deutsche Bank analyst, 2010, published report questioning Asian revenue. Couldn't verify partners, couldn't find transaction proof, market ignored it. German regulator BaFin, supposed to protect investors, investigated the analyst for market manipulation. You read that correctly. Regulator investigated the person exposing fraud, not the company committing it. Analyst forced to apologize. Report withdrawn. Message sent: don't question Wirecard. Germany won't allow it. Braun saw this. Learned lesson. Germany will protect us. As long as we're Germany's tech champion, we're untouchable. Fraud escalated. By 2015, stage 2 beginning. Wirecard's Asian business supposedly worth 2 billion euros annually, more than half of total revenue. Let's do the math on this business. Wirecard claimed third-party acquirers in Asia and Middle East processed billions in transactions annually. Normal payment processing margin, 1 to 2% maximum. Wirecard's claimed margin, 5 to 7%. Industry average, impossible. Where did that extra margin come from? Nowhere. Numbers fabricated. But Ernst and Young signed off, year after year. Clean audits, no warnings. Why? Because auditing firm had conflict. EY also consulting for Wirecard, making millions in fees. Hard to find fraud in company paying you millions. Same pattern as Arthur Andersen with Enron. Auditor, also consultant. Incentive to stay quiet. If you invested in European funds, understand, your pension managers trusted these audits. Assumed German auditors rigorous, bought Wirecard for retirement portfolios, based on lies EY certified as truth. Now fraud becomes machinery. By 2016, Wirecard not just inflating revenue, creating entire phantom business. Company claimed billions held in escrow accounts at Asian banks. Customer money temporarily held before processing. This money critical, showed liquidity, proved Wirecard could handle large transactions. Convinced investors company had cash cushion. Investigators later discovered accounts didn't exist, bank statements forged, cash non-existent. But auditors never verified. Just trusted documents Wirecard provided. Think about that. 2 billion euros supposedly in Asian banks. Nobody from EY ever flew there to confirm. Would you trust retirement fund that never verified where money was? Yet that's what happened. Braun, meanwhile, living like tech royalty. Bought Formula One sponsorships. Wirecard logos everywhere. Hired famous athletes as brand ambassadors. Built massive headquarters. The lifestyle wasn't just excess. It was proof. Look how successful we are. Look how much we spend. Must be real. Investors bought it. Media celebrated it. Politicians promoted it. By 2017, Wirecard worth 15 billion euros. Braun personal fortune over 1 billion euros. All built on accounts that didn't exist, revenue that was fake, cash that wasn't there. But still, nobody questioned, because this was Germany. And Germany doesn't produce frauds, right? Then came 2019. Financial Times started investigating. British journalist Dan McCrum spent 2 years tracking Wirecard's Asian business. Interviewed former employees, reviewed documents, found same pattern everywhere. Fake transactions, forged documents, non-existent partners. January 2019, FT published first expose, evidence of fraud. Wirecard response? Denied everything. Called reporting false, hired lawyers. BaFin response? Investigated Financial Times for market manipulation, threatened journalist with criminal charges, banned short-selling Wirecard stock, German regulator protecting fraud, attacking truth. McCrum received death threats, followed on streets, office computers hacked, but kept investigating, published more evidence, more fake transactions, more phantom cash. Market finally started questioning. Stock wobbled, dropped 20%. Braun called emergency investor meeting. February 2019. Promised, we will prove Financial Times wrong. Our accounts are real. Cash exists. Hired KPMG, another top auditor, to conduct special audit. Show once and for all that everything legitimate. This was stage 3 at peak. Fake numbers, pressure building, last chance to come clean. Braun doubled down instead. Now let me show you exactly how the fraud worked at scale. By 2019, Wirecard claimed billions in revenue from Asia and Middle East through third-party acquirers. Here's how money supposedly moved. Step 1, customer in Germany buys product from Asian merchant using Wirecard payment system. Step 2, transaction processed by third-party acquirer in Philippines or Dubai or Singapore. Step 3, acquirer collects fees, sends Wirecard's share to escrow account at Asian bank. Step 4, once monthly, escrow account transfers millions to Wirecard's main account in Germany. Clean, simple, verifiable. Except none of it happened. Investigators later found third-party acquirers were shell companies. Bank accounts didn't exist, transactions fabricated. Money laundering with a payment processor as washing machine. Let's do the math on scale. Wirecard claimed 2019 revenue, €2. 8 billion total. Asian business claimed 2 billion euros, 71% of total. Real Asian business verified later, less than 200 million euros. Fabricated revenue, 1.8 billion euros. That's not rounding error. That's industrial scale fraud. Where did fabricated revenue go? Into stock price, into investor confidence, into DAX index weighting. Your pension fund tracking DAX automatically bought more Wirecard because fake revenue made it look successful. Braun, meanwhile, convinced he was untouchable, bought private jets, multiple properties across Europe, helicopters, the works. But more important, bought influence. Wirecard hired former German intelligence officers, former BaFin employees, former government officials, all on payroll, all defending company, all attacking critics. This wasn't just fraud. This was state-captured fraud. Now understand the psychology. By 2019, Braun wasn't some criminal in shadows. He was Germany's tech hero, invited to government meetings, advised politicians on digital policy, photographed with Chancellor Merkel. He believed own propaganda, thought, I'm too important to fail, Germany needs me, they'll protect me. He was right, until he wasn't. Let's do another math breakdown on the escrow accounts. Wirecard claimed in 2019 financial statements. Cash and cash equivalents, 1.9 billion euros held at banks in Asia. This cash supposedly available to cover liabilities, showed financial strength. Convinced credit rating agencies Wirecard was safe investment. Based on this cash, Wirecard borrowed billions more from banks, loans backed by phantom money. When investigators finally verified actual cash and claimed accounts, €0 forged bank statements, dozens real banks involved, none. Some banks claimed as holding accounts didn't even exist. That's not accounting fraud. That's criminal forgery on massive scale. But remember, Ernst Young signed these statements, gave clean audit every year for over a decade. How? Later revealed, EY's audit process for Asian business was basically trust exercise. Wirecard provided bank statements. EY assumed genuine, never verified with banks directly. Industry standard, auditor contacts bank directly, bank confirms balance. Eliminates fraud risk. EY standard for Wirecard. Company provides document. Auditor files it. Why did EY fail so completely? Because EY was also making millions consulting for Wirecard. 5 to 10 million euros annually in fees beyond audit. Hard to find fraud in company paying you millions extra. Think about your own investments. If you have European funds or international diversification, how many other companies have auditors with same conflicts? This pattern, auditor also consultant, created Enron collapse, created Wirecard collapse, will create next collapse, because incentives haven't changed. April 2020, KPMG releases special audit report. Remember, Wirecard hired KPMG in 2019 to prove Financial Times wrong. Show accounts real, cash exists. KPMG spent 4 months investigating, interviewed employees, reviewed documents, tried to verify Asian business. Report conclusion: we cannot confirm the existence of reported cash balances of 1.9 billion euros. Cannot confirm. Auditors speak for doesn't exist. Stock crashed. Dropped 30% in 1 day. Wirecard response blamed KPMG, claimed auditors couldn't get proper documentation because of Asian privacy laws. Some investors believed, bought the dip, thought miscommunication will get resolved, but walls were closing. By May 2020, Ernst Young under pressure. How did they miss this for years? EY claimed, relied on Wirecard's documentation, trusted management, followed standard procedures. But leaked emails later showed EY auditors internally questioning Asian business since 2016. Red flags in emails, concerns raised, then buried. Why? Theory. If EY admitted doubts, would have to resign as auditor, would have to explain why signed previous audits. Legal liability massive, easier to stay quiet. Sign one more audit, collect fees, hope problem goes away. Classic regulator failure. Watchmen captured by people they're supposed to watch. Remember pattern from earlier? Stage 4, the crack appears. System wobbles. June 2020. Ernst Young finally refuses to sign 2019 audit. First time in Wirecard's history. Reason: can't verify cash exists. Market panics. If auditor won't sign, means problem is real. Stock drops 50% in 48 hours. Wirecard board demands, show us the money. Prove cash exists. Braun scrambles, calls Asian banks, demands confirmations. June 18th, 2020. Banks respond. 2 major Asian banks, BDO, Unibank in Philippines, and Al Khaliji in Qatar, issue statements. Message: we have no business relationship with Wirecard. The account balances you reference do not exist. Documents claiming otherwise are forgeries. That's the moment. That's when everyone realized. 2 billion euros of reported cash, billion with B, never existed. Complete fabrication. Braun's lawyer called him that morning. 7:43 a.m., delivered news. Within hours, BaFin, the same regulator that protected Wirecard for years, filed complaint. Accused Braun of market manipulation and fraud. Irony would be funny, if not tragic. If you remember 2008 financial crisis, this feels familiar. Regulators asleep until collapse, then scrambling to look tough after damage done. Same pattern, different country, same failure. By June 19th, Wirecard board forced Braun to resign. CFO also gone. Company in freefall. Timeline tightening by the hour. June 18th. Cash revealed as fake. June 19th. CEO resigns. June 22nd. Wirecard files for insolvency. 3 days. 25 billion euros to zero. Germany's tech champion to bankruptcy. Timeline never changes. Only names. Think about that. 15 years of fraud. Dozens of warnings ignored. Journalists attacked for investigating. And 3 days from crack to collapse. Pattern always same. Fraud takes years to build, takes days to destroy. June 22nd, 2020, 7 a.m., Munich. Police arrive at Markus Braun's home, arrest him at breakfast table. Charge: fraud, market manipulation, criminal conspiracy. Man who dined with Chancellor, who advised government on digital policy, who was Germany's tech pride, now in handcuffs. But that's just beginning. 48 hours earlier, COO Jan Marsalek, Braun's right-hand man, architect of Asian business, disappeared. Left Austria on private jet. Destination? Belarus, then Moscow, then vanished. Austrian intelligence later revealed Marsalek had connections to Russian intelligence. Whole time he worked at Wirecard, possibly also working for foreign services. So Germany's second largest tech company had Russian intelligence officer as COO. Nobody questioned it. Nobody checked. Think about that. By June 24th, raid on Wirecard headquarters. Hundreds of police. Seized computers, documents, files, evidence of fraud everywhere. But damage already done. Let's count final cost. Stock price peak, March 2020, 104 euros per share. Market cap at peak, 24.5 billion euros. Stock price, June 25th, 2020, 2 euros per share. Market cap, 500 million euros. Loss, 24 billion euros in value. Billion with B, 3 months. But who actually lost? Not Braun. Sold hundreds of millions in stock before collapse. Personal wealth safe, not Marsalek, fled with millions, living comfortable in Moscow, according to reports. Who paid? Let's do the math on who suffered. Retail investors, 2 to 3 billion euros losses. Ordinary Germans who believed in homegrown tech champion. Retirement savings wiped out. One was Dieter Schreiber, 71, retired accountant from Hamburg. Invested 180,000 euros, his entire retirement savings beyond pension, in Wirecard stock. Thought, German company, DAX listed, audited by Ernst Young. Safe as it gets. By June 25th, 2020, his 180,000 euros worth 3,600 euros. Lost 98%, 40 years of careful saving. Gone. Schreiber told reporters, I trusted the system. I trusted German auditors. I was a fool. He wasn't fool. He was victim of system that failed. Institutional investors, 8 to 10 billion euros losses, including pension funds, insurance companies, mutual funds, other people's retirement money. Employees, 5,800 lost jobs when company declared bankruptcy. Most owned company stock in retirement accounts, worthless. Banks that lent to Wirecard, 3.5 billion euro loans. Will recover maybe 20 cents on euro. Taxpayers cover losses through bank insurance. Total real damage, estimated 15 to 20 billion euros in actual losses. One man, one company, 2 decades. 20 billion destroyed? Perspective, more than GDP of 50 plus countries, enough to fund Germany's entire university system for 3 years. More loss than entire Greek bailout of 2010 one company. Certified clean by Germany's top auditor. Blessed by Germany's regulator. Celebrated by Germany's government. All fake. When police searched Wirecard offices, found evidence of fraud dating to 2008, 12 years, dozens of forged documents, hundreds of fake transactions. EY had all same documents. Signed clean audits for 12 years, either worst auditing in history or deliberate blindness. Either way, investors paid for it. If you had international funds in your retirement account, check statements from 2020, probably see Wirecard losses. Your portfolio hit because German regulators failed. That's personal cost of regulatory capture. Now the arrests began. June 25th, Braun arrested again after attempting to flee to Austria. July 2020, former CFO arrested. Former accounting officer arrested. Former head of Asian business arrested. August 2020, investigations expand to Ernst Young. Partners involved in Wirecard audit suspended. September 2020, BaFin officials resign. Pressure over years of failure to catch fraud. But one person never caught. Jan Marsalek, still fugitive. Interpol red notice. Last seen Moscow, 2020. Russia refuses extradition. Architect of fraud living free. While ordinary investors who believed German regulators bear cost. Pattern familiar. 2008 crisis. Bankers who caused collapse got bonuses. Homeowners lost houses. Wirecard. Executives who created fraud fled or sold stock early. Investors lost billions. People who cause crisis rarely pay. People who trust system always do. December 2022, Munich courthouse. Markus Braun's trial begins. Charges, commercial fraud, market manipulation, criminal breach of trust. If convicted, up to 15 years prison. Evidence overwhelming. Forensic accountants reconstructed fraud, traced fake transactions, found forged bank statements, identified shell companies, prosecutors showing Braun knew, authorized fake transactions, signed off on false statements, personally profited. Defense claims Braun was deceived, trusted subordinates, relied on auditors, victim of Marsalek's scheme. Trial ongoing as of January 2025, but prosecutors confident, conviction likely, maximum sentence, 15 years. Given age, now 55, and evidence, probably serve significant time. But what about others? Jan Marsalek, still fugitive in Russia, unlikely to ever face trial, living on money stolen from investors. Ernst Young partners, several faced professional sanctions, lost auditing licenses in Germany. But no criminal charges yet. Legal battles ongoing. BaFin officials, several resigned. One deputy president forced out, but no prosecutions for regulatory failure. German government ordered investigation into what went wrong. Report concluded, BaFin prioritized protecting German company over protecting investors. Systematic failure, pattern repeating. People who enabled fraud get pension. People who lost money get nothing. Now the cleanup. June 2020, Wirecard filed insolvency. Appointed administrator to salvage what possible. Some business legitimate. Real payment processing in Europe actually functioned. Worth something. Asset sales, legitimate divisions sold to competitors. Raised 100 to 150 million euros. Recovery estimate for creditors, 10 to 15 cents on euro. Banks loaned 3.5 billion euros. Will recover maybe 500 million euros. Loss, 3 billion euros. Who covers bank losses? Deposit insurance funded by, you guessed it, taxpayers and other bank customers through fees. Once again, people who did nothing wrong pay for fraud. If sounds familiar, because you remember 2008 bailouts, pattern same, people who caused crisis, Braun in jail awaiting trial, Marsalek living in Moscow, EY partners lost licenses but kept wealth, people who pay, ordinary investors lost retirement savings, employees lost jobs, taxpayers cover bank losses, crisis creators flee or fight, crisis payers just suffer. What happened to key players? Markus Braun, arrested. June 2020, released on €5 million bail, under house arrest, trial ongoing. Likely prison if convicted. Jan Marsalek, fugitive. Last confirmed sighting. Moscow, June 2020. Austria issued arrest warrant. Interpol red notice. Russia refuses cooperation, likely living on stolen millions. Oliver Bellenhaus, former head of accounting, turned state's evidence, cooperating with prosecutors in exchange for reduced sentence. Testimony key to convicting Braun. Ernst Young, Germany. Firm fined €12 million by regulator. Forced to improve audit procedures. Several partners suspended. Civil lawsuits from investors ongoing. Potential liabilities, hundreds of millions. Remember those €1.9 billion in fake cash we discussed at the beginning? EY certified it was real for 13 consecutive years. Every single audit. BaFin officials. Deputy President Felix Hufeld resigned 2021. Admitted regulatory failure. No criminal charges, but reputation destroyed. Investors, organized in groups, filing civil suits against EY, BaFin, and Wirecard's estate. Settlements expected years away. Recovery, maybe 20 to 30 cents on euro if lucky. Current status, case still open. Trial expected to conclude mid-2025. Civil lawsuits will continue for years, but system that enabled fraud, largely unchanged. So what does Wirecard teach? Not just about one German company, about trust, verification, and systems that should protect ordinary people's savings, but don't. Lesson 1. National pride makes terrible investment strategy. Germany wanted tech champions so badly, ignored every warning sign for 15 years. When Financial Times exposed fraud, Germany investigated journalists instead of company. When analysts questioned numbers, BaFin banned short selling to protect stock price. When auditors had doubts, buried them to preserve national pride. Cost, €20 billion destroyed. Thousands of jobs lost. Germany's regulatory reputation damaged for generation. If you have international investments or emerging market exposure, understand, every country has companies it wants to protect. National champions get special treatment. Sometimes that treatment enables fraud. Watch for governments publicly promoting specific companies, political risk, regulators, attacking critics instead of investigating claims, captured regulator, media celebrating national champion without skepticism, groupthink, auditors with long relationships and no tough questions, conflict, Deutsche Bank, 1990s, too important to fail, scandals buried, Wirecard, 2010s, too important to question, fraud enabled. Next one, probably brewing now in some countries, strategic industry, trust earned by transparency, not by flag waving. If you have friends with European investments or international retirement funds, send them this. They need to understand how national pride can blind regulators to fraud. Lesson 2. Auditors with conflicts cannot audit. Ernst Young audited Wirecard for 13 years. Signed clean statements. Collected €20+ million in audit fees, plus €5 to €10 million annually in consulting fees. When you're making millions consulting for company, hard to find fraud in their books. Not unique to Wirecard. Arthur Andersen with Enron. Auditor and consultant. Conflict buried fraud. 2001 collapse. KPMG with HBOS. Signed clean audits while consulting. 2008 collapse. Deloitte with autonomy. Missed fraud while collecting consulting fees. 2012 collapse. EY with Wirecard. Exact same pattern. 2020 collapse. Pattern clear. Conflicts eliminate independence. Independence is entire point of auditing. Get after Enron, after 2008 crisis, after every scandal, same conflicts allowed. Why? Because Big Four accounting firms, EY, KPMG, PwC, Deloitte, dominate auditing globally, rotate between them. All have same conflicts, all protect each other. If you have retirement savings in any mutual fund or pension, understand, companies you invest in probably audited by firms with consulting conflicts. Your safety depends on auditors with financial incentive to look away. Until conflicts eliminated, truly separated, not just managed, pattern repeats. And ordinary people's retirement savings pay every time. Anyone you know with a 401k or pension that includes international funds should watch this. Because their fund managers probably still rely on auditors with the same conflicts that missed Wirecard. Lesson 3, distance enables fraud. Wirecard's fake business was in Asia. Ernst Young audited from Germany. Banks supposedly holding money were in Philippines, Dubai, Singapore. Geographic distance made verification hard. Language barriers, different legal systems, slow communication. Braun exploited this deliberately, put fake operations far from oversight, made excuses about Asian privacy laws, delayed providing documentation. By time anyone verified anything, years passed. Fraud entrenched. Same pattern. Bernie Madoff. Claimed trades executed through third parties in London. SEC never verified. Fraud lasted 20 years. 1MDB. Money moved through shell companies in Cayman Islands, Singapore, Switzerland. Distance made tracking impossible until too late. Wirecard. Claimed business through Asian partners. Nobody verified for 15 years. Lesson. When company claims significant operations far from headquarters, especially in places hard to verify, ask, why there? Why not closer? Who actually verifies? If answer is, trust us, or privacy laws prevent disclosure, or auditor approved it, be skeptical. Because legitimate business welcomes verification, fraud requires distance. Let's compare Wirecard to 3 similar cases. Enron, 2001. First warnings, 1999. Analyst questions on accounting. Collapse. December 2001. Gap, 2 years. Regulators, SEC investigated after bankruptcy. Auditor, Arthur Andersen, also consulting. Outcome, $74 billion lost, 20,000 jobs. Executives jailed. Bernie Madoff, 2008. First warnings, 1999. Whistleblower to SEC. Collapse. December 2008. Gap, 9 years of ignored warnings. Regulators, SEC investigated 3 times, found nothing. Auditor, small firm with conflicts. Outcome, $65 billion. Ponzi, 4,800 victims, 150-year sentence. Theranos, 2018. First warnings, 2015, Wall Street Journal investigation. Collapse, September 2018. Gap, 3 years. Regulators, SEC charged after collapse. Auditor, PwC withdrew, no opinion issued. Outcome, $9 billion valuation to zero. CEO convicted Wirecard, 2020. First warnings, 2015, Financial Times investigation. Collapse, June 2020. Gap, 5 years of ignored evidence. Regulators, BaFin investigated journalists, not company auditor. Ernst Young, also consulting. 20 million euros plus in fees. Outcome, 24 billion euros lost, 5,800 jobs, CEO awaiting verdict. Notice the pattern? Warnings appear 2 to 9 years early. Every time. Regulators arrive too late or protect fraud. Every time. Auditors have conflicts. Every time. Ordinary investors lose billions. Every time. Timeline never changes. Only names. Send this to anyone who thinks it can't happen in their country, because that's what Germans thought too. This pattern isn't finished. Right now, 2025, several warning signs appearing globally. Major Chinese tech companies delaying financial reports, Alibaba, Tencent subsidiaries, others, showing signs of stage 3 accounting irregularities. European banks with large exposure to Chinese commercial real estate, 50 plus billion euros in loans, limited transparency on actual collateral value, echoes Wirecard's phantom Asian assets. Fintech startups valued in billions. Many claim revolutionary technology. Few show independently verified revenue. Same hype that protected Wirecard. If pattern holds, and it always does, we'll see another major international financial fraud exposed by 2026 to 2027. Likely in fintech or tech sector, likely involving Asian operations hard to verify. Watch for. Companies with most revenue from overseas subsidiaries difficult to audit. Stage 3 indicator. Rapid growth without corresponding increase in employees or infrastructure. Red flag. Regulators or governments vocally defending company against critics. Capture warning. Auditors with long-term relationships and consulting contracts. Conflict indicator. Wirecard pattern. Warnings appeared 2015 FAT investigation. Collapse 2020. Gap 5 years. Enron pattern. Warnings appeared 1999. Analyst concerns. Collapse 2001. Gap 2 years. Theranos pattern. Warnings appeared 2015. Whistleblower. Collapse 2018. Gap 3 years. Average time from serious public warnings to collapse 2 to 5 years. If you're seeing warnings now about a company in your portfolio, don't assume 5 years to act. Could be 5 months. I'm watching 3 specific developments. Chinese property and developer bonds, trading at distressed levels, below 50 cents on dollar, suggests underlying fraud possible. Major audit firm resignations from tech companies without clear explanation echoes EY's eventual refusal to sign Wirecard's audit. Government investigations of short sellers criticizing national champions, classic pattern of regulatory capture. When two of these three converge around single company, that's stage 4. Collapse typically follows within 12 to 18 months. Do the math, watch the pattern. Because it will happen again, always does. Here's uncomfortable truth. System that enabled Wirecard hasn't fundamentally changed. Big 4 auditing firms still dominate, still have consulting conflicts. BaFin still operates, structure largely same. National champion mentality still drives government policy in every country. Different name, same playbook, and same people pay. Ordinary investors who trust that regulations mean something, that audits verify truth, that governments protect citizens over corporate champions. Wirecard proved what 2008 crisis proved. Those assumptions wrong. System protects powerful until it can't. Then ordinary people bear cost. That's not conspiracy, that's pattern. Documented, repeated, predictable. Question is, will next generation of regulators learn? Or will we watch another 20 billion euros vanish because some country falls in love with its next tech champion? History suggests latter. Pattern says this will happen again. June 18th, 2020, 7:43 a.m., Munich. Markus Braun sits in car, phone rings. Like a lawyer delivers verdict. The money doesn't exist. Braun built empire on belief he was too important to fall, that Germany needed him, that regulators would protect him, that auditors would trust him. He was right, until numbers had to be proven. Then 2 billion euros of claimed cash revealed as air, and Germany's tech champion revealed as Germany's greatest fraud. What remains? Braun sits in cell awaiting verdict, likely faces years in prison, fortune seized, reputation destroyed. Marsalek lives somewhere in Moscow, free, rich, beyond reach of justice. 15,000 investors hold worthless stock. 5,000 former employees search for jobs. Hundreds of millions in pension money gone. And system? Still there. Big 4 auditing firms still auditing. BaFin still regulating. Germany still looking for next tech champion. Because admitting system broke means admitting trust misplaced. And that's harder than just finding next company to believe in. How could Germany's most sophisticated regulators miss 2 billion euros of fake cash for 15 years? Remember Jan Marsalek, the COO who disappeared? He was Russian intelligence, working inside Germany's proudest tech company. Nobody checked, nobody questioned. Same way America missed Enron. Same way SEC missed Madoff 9 times. Same way every regulator misses every fraud until it collapses. Because incentive isn't to find fraud. Incentive is to promote growth, celebrate champions, believe auditors, trust that system works until it doesn't. But here's what you can do differently. Don't just trust the index. Check what's in your international funds tonight. Look for companies with most revenue from overseas operations, hard to verify. Look for auditors who also consult. Look for delayed financial reports. Those warning signs saved the investors who sold Wirecard in 2018 when Financial Times published first investigation. They didn't wait for regulators. They acted on evidence. But here's what's true. Pattern always reveals itself, always has warning signs, always leaves clues. Wirecard showed them all. 15 years of clues. Regulators saw them. Auditors saw them. Investors chose not to believe them. Because believing meant admitting the dream was lie. Next, Wirecard already exists. Probably celebrated right now. Probably in your index fund. Probably showing same warning signs. I'll be tracking delayed financial reports from major tech companies, especially those with significant Asian operations hard to verify. If see pattern of audit firm resignations or sudden regulatory investigations of critics, that's stage 4. History says collapse follows within a year. You should watch too, because it will happen. Pattern guarantees it. Only question, will you recognize warning signs this time?